Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a whole new episode of Checking In with Brando. Today, I got a special guest, somebody that I always enjoy talking to, one of the most knowledgeable, one of the most wisest. So many words to describe her, but man, we got Lyna, baby. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty solid. I'm feeling pretty solid, man. What you been up to? How you been doing?
I've been, is busy the word? I don't really think busy's the word. Just occupied, you know, being a young adult.
Oh yeah.
What you been up to?
Not too much, bro. I think you just woke up from my nap not too long ago. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Tell
You
me,
do love your naps.
yeah, you gotta get them naps in. You feel me? But what's going on in the world of Lena?
Um, just working, figuring out what's next. Trying to live in the moment a little bit more. I tend to think about the future and what I'm going to do tomorrow a little bit too much, and I don't get to enjoy being right here. So that's what I'm trying to do.
I hear you, man. Like, how does it feel to have made it to the year 2022?
It's kind of surreal. I mean, I'm young, right? So I was hoping that I was going to live this long, but you look back and you're like, wow, 2017 was so long ago, but it wasn't.
Mm.
Or 2015, 2016, graduating high school. It feels like so close yet so far away. And now I'm like, wow, I'm 23, I'm an adult, I'm paying bills, and you know, friendships, relationships, parent relationships change, work relationships change, and everything holds a little bit more weight than it did like 5, 6, whatever years ago. So it's interesting, but the year's already going by so quickly. January's already over, February's here, and it's just like speeding by. The years just go so quickly. And we're like in what, year 2.5 of COVID? It's like, ugh, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know what's to happen with that, if it's ever going to be over officially, or we're just going to like learn to deal with it forever. I don't know, but 2022.
Uh, That's facts. Like, how do you like navigate the change, all the change that's happened?
I don't know. The question is like, do you navigate it or do you just adapt and change with it? Like, do you stay the same and learn how to maneuver through it, or do you change with the time? I don't really even know if I know the answer to that question for myself, but all I do know is that the years are going by quicker and quicker. So I'm trying to make the most of everything. My grandfather passed away November of last year, and he was about to be 90 years old, like 2 days after he passed away. And I think about that. I'm like, wow, he was born like 1931 or something like that. And how much life he lived, and how he almost made it to 2022. And that's just such a grand idea. So you think about something like that and you're like, if God allows me to live that long, what am I going to see? What is going to change? What am I going to adapt to? Like, what's going to happen? They thought by this time we'd have flying cars for real, for real. And we somewhat do, right? But, it's not exactly reality. So it's just like, it's a big thought. It's a really, really heavy thought.
Yeah, it's so real. Like, uh, rather trying to decide what to do with that change, because change is something we all gonna have to deal with at some point.
Yeah, I welcome it though. I think that if your surroundings or you as a person are not changing, then something's off. You see image of the butterfly, the caterpillar into the butterfly all the time. People use that metaphorically. And I take that to heart because it's true. You are the same creature, just morphed into something else. And, ideally it's you're more bigger and more beautiful, a better something that you morph into. So I encourage it. I think that change is a good thing, even if the change at first isn't necessarily positive. I think that there's something to learn from it, and then you go into the next phase of change, so I encourage it. I hope that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, tomorrow, who knows, whatever period of time, that I'm not the same person that I am right this very moment,
Yeah. Yeah, like hearing where you broke it down, it's like change is really just a opportunity for growth, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even necessarily like the word change, because I feel like at least when you are talking to another person or telling them there's something about yourself that needs to change, people automatically take that as like something negative. There's like a negative connotation with the word change. So I kind of like to think of it and like speak of it more of a transformation, or morphing into something, or evolving, or learning, really, because that's all that change really is learning from something in the past and kind of developing it into your future. Like when you're a child, you learn 1+1. Now obviously I don't do 1+1 in my everyday life, but I go to the grocery store and I gotta, calculate some type of math in my head. Well, I guess not now, right? We use chip cards and nobody cares about math, but still, the concept is still the same. It's the same principle, just adultified, so, which being an adult, that's a whole nother week. That's the next pod episode.
About adultified. But what you talking about learning, like what's some things you learn about yourself with you entering this next stage of your life?
How much time do we have? Because I would say, not to get like super extra religious or anything, but that you really have to believe in something bigger than yourself and trust what you believe. I'm not here to tell anybody what they believe is right or wrong, but making a decision to trust God and what he says and his plan for my life, and the relationships he has me form, or the relationships in my life that he breaks apart, or however he chooses to kind of maneuver things. Like, I just trust his process, because I've learned that I can't do this life thing by myself. So definitely just trusting in my creator, and also being patient. That's such a huge lesson that I think every single person on the planet can benefit from. I've kind of gotten down on myself or felt bad because a lot of my peers my age might be in this stage of life, or here or there, places that I want to be, places that I previously saw myself getting to quicker than what I have been getting to. And everything just kind of flows hand in hand because I trust my creator. And now I'm learning how to have patience. I can develop my mindset into understanding that I know that there's a plan set out for me, and that I don't know my timeline. So I have to trust what I know, be patient, and just understand that my time, or my insert, fill in the blank, is coming. I just have to be patient. But I think that there's a danger in learning that lesson as well, if you don't really understand, because being patient doesn't just mean sitting on your butt about it. There's work to be done in your patience. Yes, you're being patient for your time to come to, I don't know, own a house and have a family, right? But in the meantime, you got to be working on yourself. You got to be, you know, diligent about the other aspects of your life, so that when that time does come, you'll be prepared. Your mindset will be right. You'll be able to give and receive whatever it is, so there's work to be done in that patient time. You know what I mean? So that's a good lesson. Also, I learned about credit, and that's important too. But that's kind of just an adult lesson. They don't teach you everything in school.
Yeah,
They really don't.
that's big fact.
For
I
sure.
really like how like you spoke about putting in the work, but also being patient, because not a lot of people mention that or even think of that.
Yeah, it's faith without works is dead. And that's just the statement. It's like you can believe something and not have faith, right? Like you can look at a chair and say, I know that this is a chair. This is a chair, it has the little four legs and it has the back and it has the seat part. This is a chair. I believe that this is a chair. I'm looking at it. I can touch it. But if you don't sit in the chair and know that it's going to hold you up, you don't really have faith. The faith part is like the action part of everything. So whatever lesson you've learned, whether it's, patience or being diligent, persevering through something, there's always a part of just work that you have to do in that lesson. And so you just have to have faith that it's gonna work out. So, but it's a good thing, because nothing good ever comes to people that just like sit there and do nothing. That kind of laziness or procrastination, I think we all have a little bit of that, but nothing good ever comes from that, from just, sitting on your butt, because, whether you believe it's God or the universe, however people want to think about it, the things that you're rewarded or your blessings or the good things that come to you, if you're not careful over it, if you're not diligent about it, if you're not a good steward over these things, like you can't be surprised that those things stop coming. Like my dad, he always talks about the house that I'm in currently. Him and my stepmom built it from the ground up, and before they lived here, they were renting here. They bought a house here, lost that house, and all of these different things. And when I spoke to him about it and asked him why that was, why they were, in different places and they kept losing where they were at. And the biggest thing he told me was that they weren't taking care of what they were blessed with. Even in the smallest form, like they weren't cleaning it properly, or, just being grateful for it. They just weren't taking care of it. So it was taken away, but once they started receiving something and being grateful for it and taking good care of it and just being good stewards over what they had, they started holding on to things a lot more. So now they don't really want for anything. And I'm like, that's the key. That is the key.
Yeah, man. And it's like what you talking about patience. It's like it's very interesting because like the times we're living in, like with social media, like everybody is kind of moving like at a faster pace and trying to compare themselves with everybody else and what they're doing. But it's like you can't put yourself on somebody else's timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, you'll find that the more that you covet what other people have, or lifestyle that they live, or relationship, no matter how big or how small, the farther you get from having that for yourself. you know um it's like, so I started locking my hair in November of 2021. And the girl, the loctician who started my locks, I was just asking her for a bunch of advice, things I should do, things I shouldn't do. And I was expecting her to be like, don't sleep on a cotton pillow, and, you don't wash your hair every week, and like all these things. And she eventually got to that. But some of the biggest things that she told me was to stay away from looking at other people's lock journey. And I was really confused because I was like, I need some hairstyle inspiration. I want to see other people's hair and, this and that. And she was like, no, take progress pictures every month of your hair and stay away from being on social media, scrolling through like dreadlock TikTok, right? Watching all these people and their videos, because she said, your locks aren't going to look how they're going to eventually look a year from now, right? They're not going to, locked, and, the length isn't going to be there exactly, whatever. And she said, you'll get discouraged and want to stop your lock journey. And I did not listen to her. I didn't listen to her at all. I was like, okay, yeah, cute. All right. But probably a month and a half in, my hair started to, do its thing where it wanted to start staying in the twist that it was in. And I was like, okay, so we're on the journey for real now. And I was all on Instagram and all on TikTok, just scrolling and looking at all these girls' hair and whatnot. And I was like, oh, she was so right. Because I was like, should I even be doing this? Like, I don't even know if I want locks anymore. Like, my hair's never going to get to this stage. And I was getting frustrated, but I'm like, why am I getting frustrated when this person's caption is literally telling me their hair has been locked for 5 years? I'm 2 months into my lock journey, and I'm upset about this girl whose hair has been locked for 5 years. So, I say all that to say, in a way, I was coveting these other people's experiences, their journeys, their hair, which is such a simple yet big thing, especially in our world. But she was so right. Like, just stay in your lane. What's for you is for you. What's not for you is not for you. There's no problem with wanting big and better, or, seeing something and being like, that would be so awesome to have. But the mindset shouldn't be like, I'm so jealous of what they have, or, oh my gosh, I wish I could be them. It should be, wow, they have a really, use me as an example with my hair. Oh my gosh, her hair is so beautiful. Her locks are bomb. If I stay diligent with my hair and, I keep doing what I'm supposed to do, like one day I'll get to that stage. It's everything in life is all about mindset, about what you think, how you think it, and what you allow to transfer back and forth to your heart. So then all the stuff out here kind of lines up with what's in there, So, but my hair is just a simple example. There's so many bigger things in life that people really look at somebody else and say, like, I need that, I want that. Because then when you start thinking like that, it kind of gives, in your humanly self, it almost like gives you permission to do whatever it takes to get there. And that's a whole another thing you just don't want to get into.
Yeah, that's facts. Man, how did you learn the importance of keeping a certain mindset in order to thrive in life? Because a lot of people don't even think first about like how important having a certain mindset really is.
I think I learned really quickly in my early teenage years how fragile our human minds are. I won't get into like all the nitty-gritty details, but I think a lot of people can relate. I suffered a lot with my anxiety and depression and everything that kind of comes with that. And I didn't really have the resources to be able to handle all of that, especially being 13, 14. So you turn to what you know or don't really know. You look to other people your age because those are your peers, and that you see them doing different things to cope with the same types of issues that you have going on. So you try that. But the danger of trying those types of things is you kind of get locked into this system that damages your mind, whether it's harming yourself, using drugs, or, you know, sex, or whatever you're kind of using to cope with these types of things. But it's like addiction. Like, your mind can literally get locked into something. But the cool thing about the mind is that it can be retrained. It can be trained to do anything. Anybody can do anything at any point in time. I'm the least coordinated person on the planet. Can't dance, can't play a sport, can't do any of that. But if I set my mind today to say, I want to go be really, really good at basketball, it might take me forever, but I could train my mind to tell my body what to do. Anybody can do anything. So that's the beauty about your brain. It can be trained. That's why, you know, they tell you to get therapy, or, you know, they might suggest medication, because it's all about retraining your mind to do what it's supposed to do. So that's how I learned how fragile your mind can be, and how you deciding how you're going to think is, if that makes sense. And so, you know, I grew up and life got real. And it wasn't, you know, I'm 14 and I'm in high school now. It's, I'm 20 and I have a big girl job, and, you know, life is life, and I'm paying bills. And, you know, being a teenager, if life was halted in some type of way, it was a lot easier, because you could kind of, you know, just pick up again and go to school. You know, you're in high school, you know, you just pick up again and go to school. But life gets halted when you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, whatever. You're like, well, I don't have that job anymore, or all right, well, my car just got repoed, or, you know, whatever. Life is much more serious. So I had an incident back in 2018, and it put my life on full throttle halt. And I had to drop out of school, and I didn't have a car anymore. And let's just say my bank account was negative $2,000 because I couldn't pay my bills. And I mean, I bless God for my family. And my dad always says, I'm never going to let you sink. I'm never going to let you drown or sink. He was like, I'll let you wade in the water a little bit, but I'm never going to let you drown. So I thank God for the family I have and the resources that they have. So I didn't have to completely go all the way under, but I quickly saw I need to switch this up out here. I was so worried about how I could like change all of this out here, but I was like, no, something has to change in here so that this out here can change. And I've just been so much better for it. There's been a lot more peace, less worry, less anxiety. It's almost like I became my own therapist in a way by accident, you know? But that comes with a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of education. You have to do a lot of reading. You got to talk to people who have been there, done that, and lower your pride. That was a big thing for me. You got to lower your pride. You have to stop thinking that you know everything, and telling yourself that you're alone and that you have to do everything by yourself. It came with a lot, and I had to sacrifice a lot, but the things that I gave up in order to change my mindset, I gained so much more further down the line. So you gotta decide what you believe and what you're gonna think and what you're gonna meditate on and spend your time in your mind with. You just have to make that distinction, that decision for yourself. So
yeah, like I really enjoy hearing you talk about like how the importance you taking care of your mental health. So like how, as a Black woman, do you take care of your health living in America?
man, I you know I I think that for me personally, everybody's different, and everybody has specific God-given gifts for them. You know, some, I can only really speak for myself. But I learned over the past like 3 or so years that what makes me feel really good and me feel really good and me feel really good is just giving to people. I don't care. It could be my last dollar, the last crumb of my cookie. If somebody needs it, it's going to them. And it's never a boastful thing, or like ooh, look at me, I did something for somebody. It's just like, I can't sit here and know that you need something and know that I can help you with that need and not do whatever I have to do for you. I just can't do that. And it came from that, and then it started just turning into like, I just really like seeing people smile and happy. And so like my friends and family will tell you like, I'll like my dad, he'll like wake up sometimes and I'll like have ironed his clothes, or like he has these like what are they called, lidocaine things that go in his shoes because his feet hurt because he walks all day long at the dealership he works at. So I'll like warm them up and put them in his shoes, because I know when he wakes up and gets up, he's gonna be like, oh, this is one less thing I had to do, so I just enjoy that, and it fuels my mental. It gives me like, it sends a transmission to my brain like, this is part of your purpose. I surround myself with a lot of children all the time. If anybody knows me, they know I'm with a kid 24/7. So that helps with my mental a lot. I spend a lot of time alone. I used to like really feel like it was dangerous for me to be alone with my own thoughts, but then I changed my mindset, bring it full circle. About a lot of things, and I healed from a lot of things because I changed my mindset, and I discovered that I like myself and I like spending time with myself, and that's okay. I eat a lot. Eating is good for you. Yes, be healthy and watch your weight and, all that good stuff. And don't just fuel yourself with junk, but eat your food. I eat a lot of food and I enjoy it. Sometimes I forget to eat, but then when I do eat, I eat a lot of food. Drink your water, get some exercise, read the Bible, go to church, whatever. When I discover something that makes me feel genuinely good, and it's like it's like 1 2 3. It's like I do something and it's like God gives the thumbs up, and then my brain gets a thumbs up, and then my heart gets a thumbs up, and then it's like, oh, okay, cool, I can put this in my feel good roster. Like, this is something that I can do that's like good for me. But yeah, just you find the stuff that makes you feel good. It is not only good for you, and it's not harming your surroundings, like, and you keep doing it. Some people, work out 12 times a week, and kudos to you. That is beautiful. It couldn't be me. But yeah, you just do what makes you feel good, something that you feel like, this gives me purpose. You find a hobby, get a hobby, a scrapbook.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you found out that you really like yourself when you started spending time alone, because a lot of people are too afraid and don't want to even attempt to do that, so they drown themselves out with hanging out with people, even if the people they hang around with is not good for them.
My mom always tells me, you should be the type of person that you would want your kids to hang out with. And I think about that heavy, because when I think about having kids, like, it scares me a little, because I know that there's so much bad in the world, and I'd like to think that there's just as much good, but I do know that there's some bad things in the world, and I've seen those bad things. I've experienced them. I know how I was in a lot of my childhood, adolescence, and whatnot. And I know that can be a dangerous place for a child. And so, and I think about some of the friends and influences that I had that were not good whatsoever. So, I think really heavily on that statement that she tells me all the time. Like, if fast forward 15 years from now, if my child were to meet me at their age, I would want, me as a parent to feel safe with having them hang out with me, so again, gotta change your mindset and how you think and who you decide you want yourself to be. But, everybody, I think, knows by now, you can't love other people if you don't love yourself. So it's a not an easy journey to go on, the self-love journey. But, you know, once you're kind of in the thick of it and you take a look in your rearview mirror and you're like, wow, that's who I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 days ago. It don't even matter how long ago. And now you can look forward and you're like, and I can just keep going. It's very motivational. Very motivational. I guess I would say to like people that are struggling to be who they are or figure out who they are or love who they are is just start. That's the only thing you can do is you just have to start. There's not a perfect time. It's not tomorrow's not promised. So you can't just be like, I'm gonna start tomorrow. You just gotta start right now, you know. And it's true what they say. You should go in the mirror every day and look at yourself and tell yourself you love yourself and that you're beautiful and that you're creative and you're awesome and all these kind of things because you are, you know.
Yeah. Man, like you're talking about this self love, and I feel like self love is so important.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you love yourself, you'll be able to go forward in life, man. So what was that moment when you realized I truly love myself?
I don't think it was ever a specific moment. I think so last year at the beginning of the year, I told myself that there were certain things I was going to do and I did it. And and not just like, oh, this year I'm getting back in school or I'm, going to apply for this job or whatever. It was like what's the word I'm looking for? Extracurricular activities by which I was like, I'm going to go do this so that I can have fun or enjoy myself or give myself a break. That's kind of what I really wanted. I'd never been on a vacation before. I told myself that I was going to go visit 2 or 3 new places I had never been. And I told myself January 1st, I was going to put a stamp on my passport. And in the back of my head, I'm like, girl, you ain't got no money. Who are you even going to go with? Because you are not going to an international country by yourself. And it all ended up happening. I went to Puerto Rico last year. I went to Mexico last year. It was insane. I really sit back and I think, I'm like, I literally, like, I literally flew over the jungle, the rainforest in Puerto Rico last year. And it's like, wow, I really did that. And yeah, it was like a fun experience, but the just the concept of I said I was going to do it and I did it and I did it for myself is super liberating. And it just kind of helped culminate this conclusion that I'm finally doing stuff for myself, things that I enjoy, memories I can make. And I'm like, I love myself, and it's a great feeling. And it sounds really conceited on the outside, but when you are living in this world, especially in our generation where people are literally like media thrives off of us not liking ourselves. I mean, you see how many people are getting surgery to change things about themselves or feeling like they have to do a lot of different things to, find some type of worth within themselves when they really don't. You're you, you're you're awesome the way you are. Like, there's nothing about you that needs to change, maybe an attitude or something, but like nothing physically, or, if you want to make a change for yourself, that's something. But like, the world tells us that we have to be a certain type of way or do a certain type of thing. It's very easy for us to get down on ourselves and not love ourselves. So like, I just came to this like grand, like awakened conclusion. Like, I said I was going to do certain things, and I did them, and I did them for myself, and I had the best time, and it's memories I'll have forever. And I'm so happy, like just so overjoyed about it all. And I'm like at a place now where I'm like, yeah, like I can genuinely say I love myself and I like myself. Do I have work to do? Yeah, but like at least I know I'm on the right track, to getting to a place where I'm like almost like invincible, like nothing else can touch me, So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm eye to eye with you, because like for me myself, like over the last few months or so, when I've like looked back on the year last year was, and like some of the things I'm doing now, like I realize like I am the person who I want to be, because I'm thinking about like conversations I've had with my mom when I was younger, like, or even like other people that I've known throughout the years, and it's like, oh snaps, like I'm really doing some of those things, and it's like,
Mhm.
what? Like it kind of blows my mind. It's like, wow, like I don't necessarily have to look out to be like, oh, snaps, like this celebrity is doing this and that celebrity is doing that. But it's like, shit, I'm doing me. You feel me? And it's like, it's a great feeling in itself, and it's like,
It's,
yeah, it's just hitting on a whole new level.
yeah, it's unexplainable. Unexplainable. It's unexplainable. Um, it's just one of those kind of euphoric type feelings. Almost makes you want to cry because, you know, just for so long, at least for me personally, like I look back and I'm like, I spent so much time like hating myself and like who I was, and not knowing there's like all the untapped potential that I had. And yeah, it's just something I'm really grateful for, the even the mere opportunity and, just kind of path that God's like, here, this is for you. And like, you're going to discover so much, you're going to learn so much. I'm just really, really grateful for it. And it's shown a lot because, even relationships around me have changed. My relationship with my parents has changed a lot. We've had to go up and down, building a lot of trust and digging ourselves out of weird, like negative communication holes. And, now we're in such a great place. I have a stepmother and a biological mother, right? My biological mother, we used to, fight all the time, 24/7, could not even come to a common ground. And now, like, we're just back to being best friends. And I, everything's just changed so drastically. Even new people that come into my life, um, it's like, it's just like a different status of person. Back in the day, can I say back in the day? Am I too young to say that?
So
But back in the day, like, it was very easy for me to make a new bad friend. Somebody who was involved in a lot of things that I was involved in at the time. It was very, very easy to make a new bad friend. And then I started this journey, and things have been moved and shifted a lot of ways. And I never had an issue with people or making friends or, whatever. And, I started this journey, and I'm like, people are leaving my life quicker than they're coming into my life. Why am I having issues making friends or, hosting, these close relationships? And now I can look back and know that God was making room for some good people to come into my life. But at the time I was like, this is so strange, but not everybody can go on the train with you, now the new people that come into my life, they're like-minded people. Like, we're on the same wavelength spiritually. We don't all necessarily come from similar backgrounds, but it's just like automatically there. And I'm grateful for it, because then it's less of a process for me to like weed people out. I have a better gauge, like, oh, this person can stick around because they're good people, or, I can, date this person because, they're good people, and it's just a good thing. It's a good thing. So we'll see what's to come. 2022 just started, so I anticipate big things for this year. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
What are some of those goals that you want to reach and accomplish?
Oh, goals. Such a small yet big word. I think I have a lot more. Okay, now, I kind of, people categorize goals like short-term, long-term. Mm-hmm. And for me personally, it just puts too much of a strain of like time limits. Now, do I think you should just set goals and not have any idea of like an amount of time it should take you to accomplish this goal? No, but if I, separate my goals into short-term, long-term, I feel so pressed to like, okay, I need to get these out the way before I get these out the way. And it just kind of jumbles my mind a little bit. So I kind of separate my goals into internal goals and external goals, things that I want to see happen on the inside of me and things that I want to see happen out here. And versus having two categories where I have to put time constraints on both the categories, I can just focus on, maybe setting a range of time for my external goals, because I know that for my internal goals, the things that I want to see kind of shift and change with inside of me, if I get my mind and my heart in the right place and they're on track together about what I want to happen internally, then God will kind of handle the rest for me and he'll kind of do the work. And then I can just really focus on my external stuff. That's my work stuff. He handles his part and this is my part. So for this year, I'm praying and hoping that everything works out for me to get back in school. That's like number one. If I don't do anything else this year, I'm going to get back in school goal. I want to continue my travel train because I really love to travel and I like seeing new things and places. And it looks like that's going to happen. There's a group of women that I traveled with last year and we had a blast. It was the best time ever. So we're planning on traveling again this year. And really that's it. I've kind of the past like year and a half kind of had to take things a little bit slow with myself in terms of my goals, because I had like a long sheet of goals. It was like 50 million things on this list, and even if I accomplished all of it, I just felt so burnt out. And although tomorrow's not promised, like I keep telling myself, you have time. Give yourself time. It's okay. If God wants you to do something with more like fervor, or like if he wants to get it done quicker, like he'll let you know. He'll make your surroundings kind of like let you know, like, oh no, I need to get on the ball. I want to get my certification, my CDA certification, hopefully within the next couple of months, so I can make some more money. And I know, but of course I teach preschool. So, that'll help me in learning with my kids and getting them on track to going to kindergarten, which is so sad because they're going to kindergarten this year. But yeah, it'll be good for me. It'll be good for them. And, it'll kind of help me with getting back in school. Everything kind of works out. So that's really it. Just, continue, I'm working on developing some of my relationships and um focusing on that because you can kind of get lost in life and forget about the people around you that care about you and that you care about. And I don't want that to happen, especially right now. So, yeah. What are some of your 2022 goals, Brandon?
Oh man, that room for growth right there. It's like other opportunities for us to pursue and things like that. You know, so it's like more of just really just executing, doing a lot more executing. Because like last year, I feel like we kind of like laid the foundation and stuff. Like we was kind of like just feeling our way through. You know, but like within doing that, like it was like, okay, we've gotten better at this, we've gotten better at this. All right, so like, what's some things that we really want to do, and like learning like how to properly roll out certain things, like
Yeah,
yeah, and then it's like
good stuff.
personal growth is like that's like a daily thing, you know. Like I'm always wanting to be like the best version of myself. So it's like every day I try to do something that's gonna push me in that right direction, you know. And
Mm,
it's just like just nurturing like the different relationships I have with the people in my life, even like the people that I've met recently, like just make sure everything like just goes well, and like and
yeah,
seeing like how like those relationships can just grow and like reach a new level and stuff like that.
yeah. I think I agree with you, especially about. I mean, there's 7 point whatever billion people on that planet. Um, I tell my single friends all the time, if God wanted you to be by yourself, he would have put you on the planet by yourself. Um, but so, he values relationships and whether it be, romantic or friendships. Obviously, the family dynamic is huge. So, if everything else disappeared, all the money, the TVs, the cars, the jobs, everything, if it all disappeared, it was just people, the only thing that would be left is relationship. Um, and so they're important, they're important. You gotta, you know, nurturing your relationship should, be like a second job. It shouldn't feel like a job, but it should be like a second job. Um, you clock in on time at work, you should find time to check in with your people, every however often it's appropriate in your life to check in with your people. I think people in a cliche way kind of say, check on your friends, but it's true. People are out here really struggling with stuff, and
Uh,
you never know. You might be the only person that they feel like they have, and it's important to nurture those relationships. So um, especially uh-oh,
uh-oh.
my phone is silly. Um, especially ugh, so dumb, right? Romantic relationships, gross, ew. Um, but like especially those people, I think a lot of times what happens is people form relationships, one with people they're not friends with, two with people they don't like, and three with someone they don't find worthy enough to nurture a relationship with. So but what's the saying? How you do anything is how you do how you do anything is how you do everything, right? So, if you practice being, diligent and nurturing and present in your friendships, family relationships, work relationships, whatever, then that'll translate into your romantic life, right? Ugh, gross. But it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's facts, man. And some else, like it's like things I want to do like with certain friends. Also, like just like certain goals, like me and my friend Corey, like we've been like working on this book and stuff. There's like a lot of things that I want us to see us do. Whether like it's just us just publishing a book is like it's just so much more. You know, like within like the last like year and a half or so, like, I've really learned like there's like so much more to life, man. It's like there's like so many different ways to be creative and be dope, you know. So it's I'm trying to find as many
To
ways
be
to be
dope.
cool and dope at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's another thing about taking care of my mental and changing my kind of mindset and outlook on things is kind of finding it. Everybody needs a hobby. Everybody needs something that they do in their free time that they enjoy doing, that they could do for hours and hours and hours. I don't care if it's like making a candle. I don't know. Like my brother,
Yeah.
my brother is a big nerd. I love him to death. He does cosplay. He's super into like, you know, the superheroes and the things and all of that. And when we were younger, my mom was like, either you make some money off of this or, you know, whatever, or you put the toys and the superheroes and stuff away. And he did exactly that. He like makes these amazing cosplay costumes. He um purchases like Legos and different toys and things and makes them like comic book accurate and like sells them, and it's totally his thing, something I'd be like totally not, you know, interested in like that, but that's his hobby. He does do it for hours and hours and hours. And, you know, he makes TikToks and people love his TikToks and it's his whole franchise, right? But that's his thing. He has a full-time job. You know, we go to church and Bible study and, you know, we have family time. He has friends, you know, he has life around him, but that's his thing. That's what keeps him like coming back to himself. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And if you can make some money off of it, do you. But I think everybody needs something like that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a creative thing, but I think that everybody needs something like that. I don't care if it's bike riding or reading a book or I don't know, writing, or like I still play my violin sometimes, and whatever it is, like everybody needs something like that, like a worldly escape, something they can go off and do, whether it's by themselves or not, but just like go off and like be in their zone doing it. Like everybody needs something like that. But I understand life is so busy. It's hard to find hobbies and find stuff that you enjoy that's outside of the money making capitalism that we live in. A couple of hobbies. My brother would say that annoying him is a hobby, which kind of true. But I pick up my violin and play it. But like before I go to bed, if like I stay up till like 2 o'clock in the morning, I've picked up my violin for sure. I don't tell anybody, like whatever. Sometimes I literally just pick it up, but and I don't ever mention it to anybody. I don't know. And I feel like that's like my thing. Like I don't have to tell anybody. It's like a secret. It's just my thing. Um, that I write a lot. I read a lot. I read a lot. I I recently actually got asked to do this, and I think I'm gonna take them up on their offer because I used to do it and love to do it in high school, and I used to make some money off of it. But this woman that my mom knows, who she works with at used to work with at a high school, asked me if I could like edit essays like for her English class, for her 7th grade English class. I could help her edit essays. And I was like, yeah, I think I'll do that. Like that sounds like something I would do. Very administrative, educational. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think hobbies can look like a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Sorry, my dog is okay. Um, Spending time with my family is a hobby. I go and I annoy them and tell them to come downstairs and we're going to eat or we're going to watch a movie. I don't care. We're going to do something. That's like my way of a hobby. Like, cause you know, I just like seeing people happy and smiling and whatever. So that's my thing. I like going for walks, deep conversations. Is that a hobby or is that something I just like to do? I don't know, but I always find a reason to have a deep conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know,
Okay, okay.
I'm just being silly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you like
What else? What else is on the All American roster? You should be
but
very proud of yourself. You and Justin both should be very, very, very proud of yourself. It's not easy to start something. That's like the hardest part is starting. And then even if you get over that hump, it's being consistent is the next kind of challenging thing. And then even if you start being consistent, now you got to find continuous motivation to keep going. Then it's always something else. So you guys should be very proud of yourself for as much progress as you've made, and for having vision for the future, and for encouraging different voices and like perspectives and things on your show. It's a beautiful thing. It is.
man, we both appreciate it, but it's like even like with the consistency thing, it's like and motivation. Uh, I've recently I just heard this quote within the last couple of weeks, and it was like this guy. He was like, even when you don't have the motivation, just keep the consistency. I'm like, bro, that shit is like so true. Like just keep on going. And then like another quote I heard like before that one, like a week or two before that one was, uh, it was this guy. He used to be a running back named Fred Taylor, and he was like, success loves consistency. And I was like, bro, that shit is so true. And then I started thinking of like the aspect of like as a relationship, right? Like people want to marry success and this and that, but it's like success will probably won't want to marry you unless you like have that consistency. Like and like success is
Right.
probably willing to have like a one night stand here and there, but it's like there's nothing like meaningful from that, So it's like you gotta be consistent and marry success.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree 100%. I think that being consistent and persevering through, not being motivated or procrastination or whatever it is, laziness, or, just not having drive, staying consistent in the midst of all of that, um, just kind of sends a message up that, you know, this thing, whatever it is important to you. Um, you won't stay consistent with something that's not important to you. Plus it's like your muscles. Everybody has the same however many muscles in their body. you know there's some people that consistently work those muscles, and they essentially look different than somebody who doesn't consistently work those muscles. But don't, look at that person and be like, dang, I wish I had their muscles. It's like, no, you have those exact same muscles in your body. It's just the difference is they're choosing to be consistent with utilizing their muscles and you're not. So, um, it's like there's that kind of joke. It's like you wish you could go to the gym one day, work really hard that one day, and then come out like with a jacked body, right? But it's like in reality, it might take you, a year and a half, 2 years to get to where you really want to be physically after being consistent in the gym. But I understand why that's hard for people. We live in a world that's very give me this right here, right now. Um, you know, the world kind of tells you like it's okay to not want to do anything, and or especially when you want to start something or put something out into the world, a product or an idea or something, it's like somebody else has already done that, so don't even worry about it. you know all these kind of weird messages that you receive from the world in many different ways. Yeah, you just gotta find a reason. You got to really have your reason to want to stay consistent. And that's hard. That's something I struggle with all the time. Even in, like I'm as much patience as I've learned, I'm very impatient. I'm like, if this is not happening right now, then, you know, I do the whole, it's just not for me, but it's not that. It's like, I have to be patient and I gotta be diligent, just to persevere through it and like get through it and keep going so that I can reap the benefits later. But I guess a lot of people need to learn that lesson for sure.
Oh man, that's facts. That's facts, man. Before we dip off, man, is there anything else
Mhm.
you like to tell the people?
What else to tell the people? Drink your water. I'm just kidding. But um nothing in particular. It's been a blast. I'm honored, beyond honored. This is such a beautiful thing. Again, you and Justin should be very proud of yourself for what you've started. And you know, it's like a baby. You know, it's, you know, we're in tummy time. Eventually it'll be crawling and then it'll be walking one day, you know. Um, I just encourage you guys to stay consistent, you know, have a good mindset. I think it's gonna be wonderful. But this is beautiful. I think, you know, I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking, um, that it's like this platform that you've started kind of allows for this thing that we lack in the world through our communication, because you learn so much about people just by talking to them. No matter what they're saying, they could be talking about nothing and everything at the same time, but you learn so much about people. And you guys have kind of created this space to be relatively laid back, just chill, young people, you know, talking about whatever, you know, however it comes up, just talking. And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people to learn about other people. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So kudos to you. Congratulations. Round of applause.
Oh
It's
man.
beautiful. But I'm honored and thank you so much for having me. And I'll be back.
Big facts, man. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to have this conversation with me. And via Justin, we appreciate the words of encouragement that you given
Shout
me.
out to Justin,
Yeah, the young All American.
young All American. Good stuff.
Yes, sir, man. And that's it for the latest episode of Checking In with Brando. If you enjoyed this conversation, go ahead, go check out all the original content that's on the All American State on YouTube
Like,
channel.
comment, subscribe, share, all that.
Big facts, and go ahead, go check out our podcast, All American State of Mind, on Spotify, wherever else you like listen to podcasts. Go ahead and share with 3 friends, tell your 3 friends to share with another 3. And don't forget, if you take things day by day, you too can become All American.
All righty.